Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Curious Realms continuing coverage of Stairway to the Stars here at the Luxor in Las Vegas. We have with us right now Susan Walters. She is a solfeggio artist. Myself being a healing music musician, I am all about solfeggio frequencies and always trying to get people to understand that frequency is everything, quite literally.
Yes.
Everything. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit, how did you first begin making your art, and how did you come to the world of solfeggio frequencies to begin with?
The art actually started, it all goes back to I had near-death experiences as a very small child at the ages of 4, and then a second one at the age of 6, where I was introduced to some of my own personal angels and saw them all the time after that. Though I wasn't inspired to do anything with that until the late 90s when I started seeing everybody else's angels, and that's what developed into the angel portraits. Okay. And then in 2011 is when I was introduced to the solfeggio frequencies. All right. And originally from one of the local healers where I live in Kansas City, and he, gave me some music that said, based on the solfeggio, and said, "What can you create with this?" And I had just started.
Excuse me, my friend. We're in the middle of recording.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Thank you.
But he asked me, because I was just starting to play with mandalas, and so the first few started from inspired by his music, but then I just did some research and finding out there's actually 9 sets of 9 frequencies. Yeah. And very few people really understand that, and then so I didn't realize that when I just created half a dozen that I was going to end up creating 81 mandalas, taking 7-year, being a 7-year project. And I just finished creating these, which is a full deck of all 81 mandalas with all the information about how that specific frequency can help us.
Incredible. And
it literally help us, realign and reactivate our DNA. It can, there's so many uses and healing properties of these frequencies. Yeah. It's just mind-blowing. It seems like I learn something new about them all the time.
It took me a long time musically to actively put my frequency music out there. I tell people all the time in interviews that for the longest time it was a dirty secret, because I used the frequencies in a different way in my music. It was normally like, what frequencies make people uncomfortable? Things like that. So if I was writing a piece of music that had a certain theme, whether it was like fallen angels, things like that, I would use frequencies in the background to emote response from the listener. Right. And whenever somebody would be like, wow, I don't know what it was, but in the middle of that, there was like, I don't know, like this weird tension. It was like, awesome, mission accomplished, But it wasn't until years later, even though I used binaural beats and frequencies for my own use, it was years before I started using them for actual therapeutic music. So.
Well, and sometimes it's the things that make us uncomfortable that bring to light something we need to work on to heal. Like, to be honest, orange is not my favorite color, to say the least. Even though you'll find it prevalently in my art, because you need to balance, all color, but I don't wear that color. I usually don't eat things that are that that orange. But what chakra do I need to work on?
You're orange. You're orange.
Yes.
And it's interesting the way that happens, and the way that things just kind of work out once you start following that path, and once you start using them. Now, how frequently do you do? Because you also do readings.
Yes.
And soul portraits as well. Let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah, the angel portraits are where I draw one of your personal angels. Okay. And it takes about an hour to do those. So I'm not doing them this weekend, but I can do them via Zoom. Okay. And I have learned to do readings with the cards, which it was never my intention was to do that, but I was in an event much smaller than this, but similar in energy, and the promoter literally sat somebody in front of me and said, "Okay, you're going to do readings with your cards."
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Well,
Were they originally made for readings, or were they more made for personal meditation use?
They were always originally made for personal meditation tools. But yeah, I have adopted to using them in something I call soul growth readings.
Okay.
So they're not the typical reading about what's going on with the boyfriend or the job, or it's about your soul's journey, what things that kind of where you've been and where you're going, and and bringing up tools to help you evolve into what you want to become.
Okay, interesting. Because for me, it's been a strange journey to things like that. Recently, I guess it was last year at the Near Death Association conference, I had somebody do some energy work on me that I've had numerous Reiki sessions in my life, numerous meditation sessions with people, crystal meditation, massage therapy, all kinds of things. But specifically the work that he did to realign things spiritually for me was really phenomenal and interesting. And for me, people who can see into that realm, personally, that was a visitation from my grandfather that he helped facilitate, and helped me release all kinds of trauma from the loss of my grandfather. It was a huge point in my life when he died, and a huge changing point for me that for some reason I held on to for the longest time, for no good reason.
Right.
No, I was in 7th grade, like I had anything to do with that. But for some reason I held on to it, and we don't realize frequently, like you were saying with the color orange, even though we're tending our garden, what we're actively tilling over while we're tilling our garden, that still takes root.
Yes.
And lives under the soil.
Exactly.
And with your work specifically with angel portraiture, things like that, how do you help people, I guess, come to a point of healing through that?
Well, the portraits start out as a major, some people have actually used the word portal, that they're an angelic portal to connect with their angels on a deeper level. And one of the things, if people look at my work on my website, they'll notice that the angel's arms are almost always outstretched. It's because they're ready to exchange energy and embrace whenever that is needed, and whenever we ask for that help, because they really do want us to ask for help, because that gives them permission to help us. Well,
I love the way that you said permission, because that is one of the things that we regularly discuss on our show, whether it be alien abductions, whether it be paranormal experiences, things like that. There is a part of consent that is in there within us that allows that to happen, whether it be the fact that you are searching for that, and I always caveat people with that on my show, like, I understand we're all searching for something, but be careful what you go out searching for, all right? There's all kinds of things lurking out there, but it's more the fact of, are you aligned with the proper intention of what you're searching for? Even whenever I do, I wouldn't say that I read tarot, more than I would say that I meditate with tarot. And that will be the fact that, much like cards like this, I will pull a card and start looking at the symbology in the card and what the symbols mean to what's going on in my life.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to scry the future. I'm not trying to read it like tea leaves and find out what stocks to hit next week, things like that. I'm using it more as a tool to guide myself through my life.
What can help us grow and expand?
The answer is going to change.
Yeah.
That answer will change daily depending on where I am and what I'm aligned to. And I think that's a big issue that a lot of people have with things like this, things like tarot, is that it's almost like they want a definitive answer instead of a direction.
Yes. And I'm more about direction.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, I can't do your homework for you.
You can't. Yeah. You can't even technically come in and till the garden for them.
No.
Nor can a therapist.
I can sometimes hand you tools.
Absolutely.
And give you maybe a little bit of guidance, but it's still up to you personally if you're going to take that guidance or not.
Well,
if you're going to pick up that tool, it's going to make it easier for you to till the garden.
Yeah. And whether or not you're gonna actively give that permission for the guidance to be given. Once again, like you're saying, the angels have their arms open. They're waiting for you.
Exactly.
So, and it's interesting to me how many, because the concept of angelic work and angels itself goes beyond religion.
Yes, and they're here for because they're really truly here to help us on our journey, because that's who we've sat down with before we took physical form and go, I want to learn this, I want to experience that. And so they're the ones keeping us on track with those, and sometimes they're the ones that give us the spiritual clue by 4.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta have that. There's got to be someone to give it to you. But once again, you've got to be willing to contribute to that system.
Yes.
The way I always put it to kids that I taught religion and philosophy to was, the universe is like a slinky.
Yeah.
Tons of potential energy locked up in that spring. But you have to push it. It's not just going to slink on its own. You have to start the sling. Once you start it, it'll keep going on its own.
Right.
But you have to push the initial push into things. You have to be the one to say, okay, I need help.
Right.
I need help. I need some kind of guidance. You have to be the one that's open to that to begin with. So the fact that you are out there, not only with these cards, but with the angel portraitry, is absolutely awesome. Let everybody know where they can go to get a hold of their copy of cards, where they can go to contact you to have an actual Zoom session and have angel portraitry done.
The easiest place would be straight to my website, which is susanwalterart.com. And so I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and a social media person, unbeknownst to me, had put me on TikTok too.
All right. Awesome.
But,
well, looking forward to it. Thank you so much. You've been bustling here at the show. You've been more than busy. And
yeah, it's been crazy, and we're having so much fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
While you are online checking out all of the amazing work, stop on by. CuriousRealm.com is the website. That's where you can find, like, subscribe. That's where you can share all of the episodes, everybody. Stay tuned through these commercial breaks. We'll be right back with more coverage live here from Stairway to the Stars right after this.